3 days after the grid dies, silence replaces everything you knew. You've got the food, the water filter, the firearms. You did the work. You watched the videos. You're ready. Except there's a traitor inside your fortress. It's not your neighbor. It's not the government. It's your own biology. When infrastructure collapses, your metabolism, your nervous system, and your brain start operating by rules you've never learned. Rules that have killed prepared people, people who did everything right. 7 biological traps. 7 ways your body betrays you before any external threat gets close. Most preppers never see them coming. After this, you will. Rule number 1, the feast that stops your heart. Day 5, you've been rationing hard. Handful of crackers here, half a protein bar there, running on discipline and fumes. Then you find it. A stocked pantry, a successful hunt, that emergency cash you've been saving. Your stomach is screaming. Every cell demands you eat everything, right now. So you do. You sit down with that can of beef stew and eat like it's your last meal. 6 hours later, it might be, because your heart just stopped. This is refeeding syndrome, not theory, not exaggeration. Documented medical fact that has killed more survivors of extreme situations than most people know. Here's what happens inside you. When you truly starve, not skipped lunch, but body thinks it might die, your metabolism restructures itself. Insulin production shuts down. Why bother? No food coming. Your cells shift from glucose to ketones. Electrolyte balance goes sideways. This is conservation mode. Uncomfortable, but survivable for weeks. The trap springs when you flip the switch back. Slam a high-carb meal into a starved system and your pancreas panics. Insulin floods your bloodstream, way more than normal. That insulin grabs every bit of phosphate, magnesium, and potassium it can find and shoves it into your cells. Those aren't random minerals on a nutrition label. They're what makes your heart beat in rhythm, what makes your muscles contract, what keeps your neurons firing correctly. When they suddenly vanish from your blood, bad things happen. Irregular heartbeat, muscle failure, cognitive collapse. In severe cases, more common than you'd think, cardiac arrest. This killed Holocaust survivors when Allied soldiers gave them chocolate, killed POWs when they were liberated, kills anorexia patients who recovered too fast. The feast killed them, not the famine. The solution goes against every instinct. If anyone in your group has been on severe rations for more than 48 hours, you don't celebrate when you find food. You go low and slow. Small amounts, a few spoonfuls every couple hours. Prioritize proteins and fats over carbohydrates. Avoid sugar like poison, because for your body in that state, it basically is. Gradually increase over 2 to 3 days. It feels like torture. Food right there, forcing yourself to eat like you're still starving. That's the price. Your body is an idiot savant. It kept you alive during starvation. Now you need to be smart enough not to let it kill you during recovery. The maxim: a feast can be a death sentence. Ration up as carefully as you ration down. But here's where it gets interesting. Let's say you navigate refeeding perfectly. You're eating regularly again, feeling strong. Great. Now there's something else staging revolt inside you. Something affecting your entire group's ability to function, and almost nobody thinks to prepare for it. Rule number 2, the withdrawal apocalypse. Day 2 of the blackout. Initial panic has worn off. Perimeter secured. Supplies inventoried. Plan in place. Then the headache starts. You think it's stress, dehydration, bad sleep, you drink water, try to relax. It gets worse. By hour 18, railroads spike through the temple, thoughts moving through molasses, irritable, snapping at people, making stupid decisions that would have been obvious yesterday. Your buddy asks about the watch schedule. You nearly bite his head off. Someone suggests a supply run through hostile territory. You agree without thinking through risks. The person on guard duty falls asleep. What's happening to everyone? Withdrawal, not from anything dramatic, from the most normalized drug addiction in human history. Caffeine. Here's a number. Approximately 90% of adults in developed nations are physically dependent on caffeine. Not enjoy, not prefer, dependent. Brain chemistry fundamentally altered to require it. You probably didn't stock any. Too busy with beans and bullets to remember the brown powder that keeps neurons firing correctly. The biology. Your brain produces adenosine, your body's tired signal. When adenosine binds to brain receptors, you feel sleepy, ready to rest, normal, healthy. Caffeine blocks those receptors. Adenosine's still there, just can't bind. So you don't feel tired. But your brain notices signals aren't getting through. So it grows more receptors, more ears to hear the message. With regular caffeine, this is fine. Extra receptors blocked like the originals. You feel normal. When caffeine stops, grid down, espresso machine dead, nearest coffee shop, a smoking ruin, all those extra receptors are wide open. Built-up adenosine floods in. Studies show caffeine withdrawal causes measurable 50% reduction in cognitive function, reaction time craters, decision-making collapses, impulse control, that voice saying think before you act, goes on vacation. In normal life, you're grumpy for a few days, call in sick, drink water, complain. In a crisis, your entire group operates at half capacity during the most critical window. The person watching your back falls asleep at the wrong moment. Your leader makes strategic decisions with the cognitive ability of someone awake 36 hours. Nicotine withdrawal is worse. Anxiety, irritability, concentration problems, and gnawing cravings that make people do incredibly stupid things. The lesson: caffeine and nicotine aren't luxuries. They're biostabilizers, brain chemistry maintenance, the difference between a functional group and withdrawal zombies stumbling through chaos. Stock them. Big container of instant coffee costs almost nothing, lasts forever. Nicotine patches for smokers. These aren't indulgences, they're tactical necessities. Can't stock them? At least understand the first 72 to 96 hours of any major crisis will be complicated by everyone's brain chemistry going haywire. Plan for reduced capacity, assume impairment, build in safety margins, or use them as currency. 3 weeks in, a pack of cigarettes is worth more than gold. Coffee beans are negotiation superweapons. But even with brain chemistry stable, there's another enemy waiting. This one lives in the dark. Literally. And it's about to make you shoot at things that don't exist. Rule number 3, your brain is a liar in the dark. 3 a.m., you're on watch. Not by choice, nobody wants this shift, but someone has to do it, and tonight, that's you. Positioned by a window, barely cracked, listening for sounds that don't belong. It's dark. Not lights off, dark. True, total, light pollution-free darkness. The kind humans almost never experience anymore. The kind your ancestors feared for very good reasons. You stare into the void, eyes straining, looking for movement, shapes, anything indicating approach. Then you see it. A figure, crouched by the fence line, definitely human, definitely moving toward you. Heart rate spikes, hands tighten. This is what you prepared for. You've got the shot. Advantage is yours. You fire. Muzzle flash destroys your night vision. Sound announces your position to everyone within a mile. Buddies come running, flashlights blazing. You shot a bush. Completely stationary. Been there since before the grid went down. In flashlight beams. Looks absolutely nothing like a human. Welcome to the Gansfeld effect. Your brain just tried to get you killed. Here's what happens in true darkness, which counts as sensory deprivation for your visual cortex. Your brain is a prediction machine. Primary job isn't passively receiving sensory information. It's actively constructing a model of reality from available data. When data is rich, bright light, clear visibility, your brain builds accurate models. You see what's there. When the data stream goes dark, your brain doesn't wait patiently. It improvises. Fills gaps with whatever it can cobble from memory, expectation, fear. Neuroscientists call this neural noise. Your visual cortex, starved of input, generates its own signals. Random patterns, shapes, movement. Your conscious mind, desperate for threat information, interprets these hallucinations as real. This isn't weakness, it's literally how your brain is wired. Back when false positives were less costly than false negatives, this made sense. Seeing a predator that wasn't there wasted energy. Missing one that was there made you lunch. In a survival situation where friendly fire is possible and giving away your position can be fatal, this ancient wiring becomes deadly. Studies on this are terrifying. Subjects in total darkness routinely report seeing faces, figures, movement, not maybe saw something. Full visual experiences they'd swear were real. They pass polygraph tests because their brains genuinely experienced it. What do you do against an enemy inside your own skull? First, understand it. Knowing this phenomenon exists is half the battle. When you see something move in darkness, first response should be skepticism, not action. Your brain lies in the dark. Treat its reports accordingly. Second, buddy system. Not just for defense, but for reality checks. Before acting on something you saw, get confirmation. Do you see that by the fence? If they don't, you probably don't either. Third, never trust a single pair of eyes in total darkness. Even with two people seeing the same thing, be cautious, but at least you've reduced the odds. Fourth, preserve night vision like gold. Takes 20 to 30 minutes to fully adapt. One bright flash destroys it instantly. Need light? Use red. Impacts night vision least. Fifth, accept limitations. Perfect situational awareness in total darkness is impossible. Focus more on listening. Rely on tripwires and noisemakers over visual surveillance. The darkness isn't your friend or enemy. It's neutral, affecting everyone equally. The difference is understanding how your mind warps under these conditions. Speaking of how mind and body warp under pressure, what happens when the danger isn't imaginary? When the threat is real, adrenaline flowing, and your nervous system turns your hands into useless meat paddles at exactly the wrong moment? That's next. And it might be the most practically important thing you'll learn today. Rule number 4, sausage fingers. The knock comes at 2 a.m. In a grid-down scenario, after hearing rumors about what happened 2 streets over, it might as well be gunfire. You're up, heart hammering, moving toward your prepared position, toward the safe with the firearm you bought for exactly this scenario. You've practiced this drill dozens of times, know the combination by heart. You reach the safe, put fingers on the keypad. Nothing happens. Fingers won't cooperate, thick, clumsy, like they belong to someone else. Stabbing at buttons, missing, wrong numbers. Keypad beeps rejection. Try again, wrong again. Hands shaking so badly you can barely see the numbers. The knocking gets louder, or maybe that's your heartbeat. By the time you get the safe open, if you get it open, the advantage window is gone. You're rattled, behind, fumbling with equipment that feels alien. What happened? Panic? Forgot the combination? No, your nervous system happened. Did exactly what it's designed to do. Problem is, that design is completely incompatible with modern survival equipment. This is the sympathetic nervous system response, fight or flight. Everyone talks about psychological aspects, fear, aggression, tunnel vision. Almost nobody discusses what it does to your hands. The physiology, when your brain perceives mortal threat, hormones cascade, primarily adrenaline and cortisol. These prepare your body for large-scale physical action, running, fighting, throwing punches. To fuel these activities, blood flow redirects. Major muscle groups, legs, core, shoulders, get flooded with oxygen-rich blood. Temporarily stronger, faster, more resistant to pain. But blood has to come from somewhere. It comes from your extremities, fingers, toes. The small, precise muscles controlling fine motor movements. The result is documented. Once heart rate exceeds approximately 145 beats per minute, fine motor skills degrade significantly. By 175 BPM, they're essentially gone. You can make a fist, swing your arm, pull a trigger if it's big enough. But typing a code? Operating a combination lock? Manipulating small keys? Forget it. Your body decided these aren't survival relevant and reallocated resources. This is why trained officers miss shots at close range during actual confrontations, why soldiers fumble with equipment they've used thousands of times in training, why people who rehearsed emergencies perfectly freeze when it's real. Not weakness, not cowardice. Biology affects virtually everyone. What this means for your strategy: audit every aspect of your preparations with one question. Can I operate this with gross motor skills only? Gross motor skills are big movements. Pushing, pulling, grabbing. These survive extreme stress because your body thinks they might save your life. Electronic keypad safe? Fine motor skills. Replace with something you can operate with a palm strike. Multi-tool requiring you to fold out specific implements? Fine motor skills. Get something simpler. Door lock requiring a key? Fine motor skills. Deadbolts you can throw with your forearm or better. First aid kit with small, fiddly clasps? Fine motor skills. repackage so everything opens with gross movements. Think about everything requiring dexterity. Assume dexterity won't be available when needed most. Design your systems for the dumbest, clumsiest, most adrenaline-flooded version of yourself. That's who shows up when it matters. Bonus, adrenaline also warps perception. Time dilation, tunnel vision, auditory exclusion. You might not hear shouted warnings. Miss obvious peripheral threats. Lose track of rounds fired. The human stress response is evolutionarily optimized. Just optimized for throwing spears at mammoths, not operating gear designed by engineers who never experienced life-threatening situations. But let's say you survive the immediate crisis. Deal with a threat, adrenaline fades, hands stop shaking. Now you notice something. That scrape on your leg from scrambling for cover, too amped to feel it before, starting to sting now. You shrug it off, just a scratch, bigger problems. That dismissal might kill you slower than any bullet, and the timeline is shorter than you think. Rule number 5, the countdown on your skin. You don't remember when it happened, fence you climbed, broken glass you crawled through, rough edge on salvage that caught you. Doesn't matter, you've got a wound. Not dramatic, no arterial spray, just a cut, inch long, maybe 2, not deep. You've had worse shaving. So you ignore it. Supply runs to plan, watch schedules to organize, 100 problems more urgent than a little scratch. 48 hours later, you feel wrong. Not injured, wrong, sick wrong, body aches. Tired in a way sleep doesn't fix, maybe fever. By 72 hours, redness around that scratch is spreading. Lines creeping up your leg like drawn with red pen. Lymph nodes swollen, thinking getting harder. By 96 hours, if unlucky, you're in sepsis. Blood pressure crashing, organs starting to fail. All the beans and bullets in the world can't help now. This is the sepsis clock. It ticks faster than most realize. The math that should concern you. Under normal conditions, modern antibiotics, medical care, a minor skin infection is a minor inconvenience. Clean it, apply ointment, maybe take pills if it gets angry, life goes on. Without those interventions, the calculus changes completely. Bacteria reproduce exponentially. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8. Under ideal conditions, warm, moist, nutrient-rich wounded flesh qualifies. Some bacteria double population every 20 minutes. Run that math for 48 hours. Your immune system is incredible, but it's fighting a numbers game, and without antibiotic support, numbers often win. Localized infection breaches bloodstream. Once there, it's everywhere. That's sepsis. Blood poisoning. Your body's inflammatory response going nuclear, destroying your own organs, trying to kill invaders. In the pre-antibiotic era, tooth abscesses killed people. Splinters killed people. Thorn scratches while gardening killed people. We've forgotten how thin the line between minor injury and death sentence used to be. In a post-grid world, that line exists again. What you do. Treat every wound like major surgery. Every scratch, every cut, every abrasion, every puncture. Each breach in your skin is a potential entry point for something wanting to consume you from inside. Clean it immediately, properly, running water if available, soap if available. Remove debris even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. Goal is mechanical debridement, physically removing bacteria and contaminants before they establish a beachhead. Antiseptics help but aren't magic. Alcohol, iodine, hydrogen peroxide kill bacteria on contact, but also kill your cells, delaying healing. Use sparingly for initial decontamination, not ongoing treatment. Keep it clean and covered. Bandages aren't just for absorbing blood, they're for keeping new bacteria out while your body repairs the breach. Stock natural antibiotics and understand limitations. Real honey, not processed sugar syrup, has genuine antimicrobial properties. Medical grade Manuka honey even better, used on wounds for thousands of years for good reason. Allicin from garlic has documented antibacterial properties. Crush fresh garlic, let sit 10 minutes to activate allicin, apply topically. Won't feel great, works anyway. Critical point, know the difference between topical and systemic infection. Natural antibiotics help keep wounds clean on the surface. They cannot save you once infection reaches your bloodstream. Red lines spreading from a wound, systemic fever and chills, infection clearly winning, you have a very limited window to find real antibiotics or medical care. measured in hours, not days. Prevention is everything. Avoid unnecessary risks with religious fervor. That supply run isn't worth climbing through broken glass. That shortcut through overgrown fields isn't worth unknown scratches. Protect your skin like it's the only barrier between you and death. Because it is. Now, you're being careful, treating wounds, avoiding risks, infection under control. But there's another slow killer lurking. This one is sneakier than bacteria. It's built into the walls of your own home. And it works through physics you probably never considered. Rule number 6, the thermal tomb. Grid is down. It's winter or summer in the south. Either way, HVAC is dead, and the comfortable climate you've taken for granted is now memory. But you're not worried. You're inside. Walls, insulation, sturdy, modern home that's kept you comfortable for years. That modern home, wonderful, energy efficient, well insulated, is about to become your enemy. Without active climate control, it's not shelter, it's a trap. The physics aren't in your favor. Let me introduce thermal mass. Something architects think about constantly, normal people never consider until it's trying to kill them. Thermal mass is a material's ability to absorb and store heat energy. High thermal mass materials, concrete, brick, stone, absorb heat slowly but hold it. Low thermal mass, wood, fabric, air, don't absorb much at all. In climate-controlled buildings, thermal mass is great, stabilizes temperatures, reduces energy costs. In unclimate-controlled buildings, thermal mass is a time bomb. If it's cold outside, your home's thermal mass absorbs cold. Not quickly, insulation slows it, but inexorably. Concrete slab under your feet, brick walls, foundation, all slowly equilibrating with outside temperature. The terrifying part, once thermal mass is cold, it stays cold, becomes a refrigerator. Even if you warm the air, fire, propane heater, body heat, all that warmth gets absorbed by cold thermal mass around you. You're not heating your house, you're heating your walls. And they're radiating it away. People die of hypothermia indoors every year, even without grid failure. A building shell protects from wind and precipitation, but doesn't provide warmth. In some cases, it actively sucks warmth away. In summer, same physics work in reverse. Thermal mass absorbs heat during the day. At night, when you'd normally get relief, stored heat radiates back out. Without AC, modern homes in hot climates reach temperatures causing heat stroke and death. The solution: stop trying to heat the house, heat the microclimate. This separates people who understand thermodynamics from people who freeze in their own living rooms. Your goal isn't raising temperature of your entire dwelling. It's creating a small, insulated pocket your body heat alone can sustain. Build a tent inside your living room. Seriously, hang blankets from ceiling. Create small enclosed space, just big enough for sleeping, and pack it with insulation. Foam, blankets, sleeping bags, clothes, pillows, anything trapping air. Air is a terrible conductor, making it great insulation. Inside that microclimate, your body becomes the heater. Human body at rest generates about 80 to 100 watts. Not much in a large space. In a small, well-insulated cocoon, enough to maintain survivable temperatures even when the surrounding house is dangerously cold. Layer clothing. Tight base layer to wick moisture, loose middle layer to trap air, wind-resistant outer layer to retain heat. Get off the floor. Cold floors, especially concrete, suck heat through conduction. This is why homeless people sleep on cardboard. Not comfortable. Is insulation between them and thermal mass. Use padding, raised surfaces, create a barrier. In heat emergencies, same principle reversed. Create cooler microclimate, basement if available, shade, wet cloths. Evaporative cooling works in low humidity. Modern built environment assumed constant climate control. When that fails, the environment becomes hostile. Don't fight physics, work with it. Shrink your space, insulate your body, treat your home as a shell providing wind and rain protection, not thermal comfort. You've got physical survival handled. Managing food, chemistry, wounds, temperature, staying alive inside your fortress. The question becomes, how long until someone notices that fortress? Because looking like you have something to protect is the fastest way to attract wrong attention. And the solution is counterintuitive enough that most preppers get it completely backwards. Rule number 7, the trash man protocol. You've done everything right. House dark, blackout curtains perfect. No light leaks, no generator hum. No visible smoke or fires. You're a ghost, gray man, invisible. Except you're not. Because your invisibility is a signal. Locked doors and shuttered windows aren't saying nothing here. They're screaming something worth protecting. Think from the perspective of someone walking your street, someone desperate, calculating risk versus reward, someone who used to be your neighbor and is now something else. One side of the street, house clearly abandoned, door hanging open, windows broken, garbage scattered, obviously picked over, nothing left. Other side, your house, locked tight, no damage, no signs of looting. Dark, quiet, mysterious. Which one gets investigated? The lockdown fortress screams, treasure inside. Every precaution protecting resources also advertises you have resources worth protecting. Gray man works for personal anonymity in crowds. Your house can't be anonymous. It has to look like something. Make it look already looted. This is the trash man protocol, understanding predator psychology well enough to hack it. Most human predators in a lawless situation operate on basic risk-reward calculation. Want resources with minimum effort, minimum danger. Don't want fights. Don't want drawn-out sieges. Want easy targets. Easiest target, one proven to have something worth taking. Your fortress is a mystery box. High reward potential, unknown risk. Are you inside? Armed? How many? The predator doesn't know. Some decide to find out. A house looking already looted is different calculation. Low reward probability. Someone else took the good stuff. Why waste time on scraps? So look like scraps. Pile garbage by the door, not neatly, realistically. Scattered like someone went through in a hurry, threw aside anything worthless. Broken items, empty packages. Suggests already searched. Consider superficial damage looking authentic. Broken window or something looking like one. Cardboard with jagged edges taped inside. Glass shards glued to frame. Pry marks on door frame. Spray paint if it fits local aesthetic. Let weeds grow. Mail pile up. Property look neglected and abandoned. Nobody maintaining because nobody's there. The psychology. Path of least resistance. Human brains are lazy, constantly seeking shortcuts. When presented with two targets, one looking difficult, one looking easy, almost always choose easy. Your job, look not worth it. Better, look already done. Visual hacking, convince predators' brains someone beat them to it before they step on your lawn. The beautiful part, this works because it goes against every instinct. Your instincts say lock down, secure, fortify. Optimized for a world with law enforcement and social consequences. In a lawless world, those instincts betray you. Fortification attracts attention. Security suggests value. Best defense isn't walls, it's irrelevance. This doesn't mean abandoning actual security. You still need locks that work, defensive positions. Plans for if someone does investigate. But first layer of defense should be psychological, not physical. Win the fight by convincing predators there's no fight worth having. Think like a scavenger, look like a carcass picked clean, be the house not worth the trouble. The final punch. 7 traps. 7 ways your biology, psychology, and environment betray you before external threats get close. The feast stopping your heart, the withdrawal crippling your group. The darkness inventing threats. The stress stealing your dexterity. The scratch becoming sepsis. The home becoming a tomb. The fortress becoming a target. The grid might fail, supply chains might collapse, civilization's veneer might crack. But your biology doesn't know that. It just knows what it's always known. The survivors won't be the ones with the most stuff. They'll be the ones who understand how their bodies work when everything else stops working. Most people think they can tough it out. Science says they're wrong. You've got the knowledge now. The question is what you do with it.